finals match today, and don't forget to come.
Mga ka-TFT, nandito tayo ngayon sa Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, and we are here with none other than our...
On a sweltering February night in Abu Dhabi, what unfolded at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open was far more than a routine WTA match. It was a cultural flashpoint. As the WTA's Middle East swing brought the world's best to the UAE, a 20-year-old Filipina stepped into the spotlight carrying the hopes of millions. Alexandra Eala, fresh off reaching a career-high world number 45 ranking, wasn't just competing, she was rewriting history for Philippine tennis. Facing Turkey's Zeynep Sönmez in a tense first-round clash under the blazing lights of Zayed Sport City, Eala battled not only an opponent ranked inside the top 100, but the crushing weight of expectation from a nation of over 110 million people. But the real shockwave came after the final point. What should have been a standard post-match moment turned electric when Eala delivered a simple three-word message in Tagalog straight into the camera lens, words that instantly reverberated across social media and through Filipino communities worldwide. In that brief, defiant gesture, she transformed a tennis victory into something symbolic, something deeply emotional. Even the Philippine ambassador to the UAE, known for diplomatic restraint and composure, reportedly abandoned protocol in a spontaneous, heartfelt reaction that captured the spirit of the night. This wasn't just about rankings, prize money, or another result in the sports pages. It was the night a young athlete became a beacon for a global diaspora, a rallying cry for pride, identity, and possibility. In Abu Dhabi, under the desert heat and unforgiving lights, Alexandra Eala didn't simply win a match. She ignited a movement. What everyone expected to be a routine, respectful night of tennis inside Zayed Sport City in Abu Dhabi quickly transformed into something raw, emotional, and unforgettable. The crowd wasn't the typical mix of corporate guests and quiet tennis purists. Instead, the stands were filled with overseas Filipino workers, nurses rushing in after exhausting hospital shifts, construction workers with dust still on their sleeves, domestic helpers sacrificing rare days off, engineers, teachers, hotel staff, the heartbeat of the UAE economy. They didn't come for polite applause. They came for pride. They came for home. They came for Alexandra Eala. From the first crack of her forehand, it was clear Eala had brought her best tennis to the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open. Every winner ignited deafening chants of Pilipinas. That shook the rafters. Flags waved in synchronized waves of red, blue, white, and gold. The energy felt closer to a championship boxing match than a WTA first-round encounter. Her opponent, Zeynep Sönmez, fought bravely, adjusting tactics and refusing to fold under the noise. But Eala fed off the electricity, riding it to a 6-4 first set that sent the arena into a frenzy. Up in the VIP section sat Philippine Ambassador Alfonso Ferdinand Ver, composed and immaculate in his formal barong Tagalog layered over a suit every inch the career diplomat. He knew the script: clap politely, smile subtly, remain measured. For decades he had mastered restraint, navigating negotiations and crises with steady control. But as the second set tightened and Eala stepped up to serve for the match at 5-3, something shifted. The crowd rose as one. The noise became a living force. Eala tossed the ball, uncoiled, and fired a blistering serve down the tee. The return floated short. She stepped in and ripped a backhand down the line that painted the sideline with ruthless precision. Winner. Match point converted. And in that split second, protocol shattered. Witnesses say the ambassador shot to his feet so forcefully his chair tipped back. Security moved instinctively, but he waved them off. The carefully knotted tie, symbol of discipline and diplomacy, was yanked loose. Years of composure dissolved into something beautifully human. He wasn't a diplomat in that moment. He was a Filipino watching one of his own make history thousands of miles from home. Inside that arena in Abu Dhabi, it wasn't just a tennis victory. It was a release. A collective exhale from a diaspora that had sacrificed so much. It was proof that even far from Manila's streets and provincial towns, the spirit of the Philippines could fill a stadium and shake it to its foundations. To the astonishment of everyone in the VIP section, Ambassador Alfonso Ferdinand Ver didn't simply celebrate, he moved with urgency, slipping past security and heading straight into the stands where thousands of overseas Filipino workers were packed shoulder to shoulder. Inside Zayed Sport City in Abu Dhabi, protocol dissolved in real time. Security teams scrambled, radios crackling, unsure whether to intervene. But the look on his face, pure pride, pure joy, stopped them just long enough. He emerged among nurses, construction workers, teachers, and domestic helpers who instantly recognized him. This wasn't a staged appearance. He wasn't there for handshakes or photo ops. He was there as one of them. Someone handed him a Philippine flag, and without hesitation he raised it high, waving it above his head as cameras zoomed in, producers sensing they were witnessing something historic and unscripted. On court at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, Alexandra Eala had just earned match point. She turned to salute the roaring crowd and saw him. Tie loosened, tears streaming, flag flying. Their eyes locked across the arena, and for a heartbeat, the entire stadium seemed to freeze. From his jacket, the ambassador pulled out his official embassy pin, the symbol of his diplomatic office, and held it up under the stadium lights. Leaning over the railing, he told her words that would echo far beyond that night. "Tonight, I speak not as an ambassador, but as a fan who owes you thanks." He handed her the pin not as ceremony, but as gratitude, from every Filipino working abroad, every parent separated from family, every worker building dreams far from home. It was a symbol of pride returned. Eala accepted it with trembling composure, nodding once before turning back to finish the job. The energy in the arena shifted from excitement to something deeper: love, solidarity, belonging. Across the net, Zeynep Sonmez could only watch as momentum became destiny. Eala served. The rally built. Then, with fearless precision, she drove a backhand down the line that clipped the paint and kicked away untouched. Game. Set. Match. 6-4, 6-3. The stadium didn't cheer, it detonated. Flags whipped through the air, strangers embraced, grown men wept openly. In that thunderous eruption inside Abu Dhabi, it was no longer just a tennis victory. It was a declaration. A reminder that even thousands of miles from home, a nation's pride can rise together in one unstoppable roar. Philippine flags whipped through the air like they might take flight. Strangers hugged as if they'd known each other their whole lives. In that thunderous moment inside Zayed Sports City in Abu Dhabi, there were no job titles, no uniforms, no differences, just Filipinos united by pride. Ambassador Alfonso Ferdinand Ver stood at the railing, no longer attempting to preserve diplomatic composure. He cried openly, clapping until his palms reddened, joining the chants of "Eala! Eala! Eala!" as security quietly shifted from control to protection, allowing him this rare, human release. On court at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, Alexandra Eala completed the ritual handshake with Zeynep Sonmez, gracious in victory and respectful in triumph. She turned slowly to each side of the stadium, applauding the crowd, bowing slightly, absorbing a moment she knew would never feel exactly the same again. The ovation rolled over her in waves, raw, relentless, overwhelming. Then came the familiar post-match tradition. The winner signs the camera lens. Usually it's a playful autograph or a quick thanks Abu Dhabi. But when Eala took the marker, she didn't write immediately. She paused. Her hand trembled not from fatigue, but from feeling. From the sight of thousands of overseas Filipino workers who had poured their hearts into the night. From the ambassador's tearful gesture. From everyone watching in Manila, Cebu, Davao, and in Filipino communities scattered across the globe. She looked directly into the lens, not at it, but through it. As if speaking to every nurse in London, every caregiver in Toronto, every seafarer crossing the Pacific, every worker who left home chasing opportunity for loved ones far away. And instead of English, the expected language of international sport, she wrote 3 words in Tagalog, "Hindi ka nag-isa." You are not alone. The broadcast commentators didn't immediately translate it. The international feed moved on. But Filipinos everywhere understood in an instant. Screenshots flooded social media. The phrase spread across timelines, group chats, and diaspora communities like wildfire, and 3 simple words. Eala transformed a tennis victory into something far bigger, a message of solidarity, belonging, and shared strength. That night in Abu Dhabi, it wasn't just a match win. It was a reminder that no matter how far from home you stand, someone out there carries your story with them and fights for it under the brightest lights in the world. Within minutes, the message was everywhere. Screenshots of the camera lens flooded group chats and timelines. WhatsApp notifications wouldn't stop buzzing. Facebook feeds overflowed. Hindi ka nag-isa began trending globally. Because Alexandra Eala hadn't written those words for sponsors, commentators, or casual tennis fans. She wrote them for overseas Filipino workers, the ones who miss birthdays and graduations, who work double shifts in hospitals, who build skylines they'll never live in, who endure loneliness in cities that don't know their stories. She wasn't saying, "Thank you for cheering." She was saying, "I see you. I see the sacrifice. I see the homesickness. I see the invisible weight you carry. And you are not alone." In that instant at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open in Abu Dhabi, Eala transcended tennis. She stopped being just a rising star climbing the rankings. She became something far more powerful, a living symbol of Filipino resilience, of family-first devotion, of quiet strength that refuses to break. When the words appeared on the stadium's giant screen, another emotional wave swept through the crowd. People who had just regained composure began crying again. Strangers held each other tighter. Some stood frozen, hands over their mouths. Ambassador Alfonso Ferdinand Ver, already walking back toward the VIP section, reportedly stopped in his tracks when he saw the phrase illuminated above the court. Security later said he stood there for nearly a full minute, reading those 3 words again and again before finally allowing himself to be guided back. Cameras caught him wiping his eyes, and instead of criticism, there was admiration. His humanity, his willingness to drop protocol and simply feel, elevated him in the eyes of everyone watching. Meanwhile, international commentators scrambled. They sensed something seismic had happened. They saw the tears, the ambassador in the stands, the eruption of emotion, but without cultural context, they couldn't fully decode it. They didn't understand that for millions of Filipinos scattered across the globe, those 3 words weren't just a phrase. They were a lifeline. That night wasn't merely about a 6-4, 6-3 victory. It was about visibility, about dignity, about a young woman standing under the harsh lights of an international arena and using her platform to tell an entire diaspora, "You matter. Your sacrifices matter. And even thousands of miles from home, we stand together." International commentators may have struggled to interpret what happened that night, but in the Philippines, the meaning was crystal clear. Within hours, major networks and digital outlets led with the story of Alexandra Eala and her 3-word message at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open in Abu Dhabi. Morning shows replayed the footage on loop. Radio hosts dissected every second. Social media filled with emotional testimonials from overseas Filipino workers filming themselves in tears while watching the moment back. The hashtag Hindi Ka Nag-Isa surged to the top of global trends, staying there for days. Government officials quickly released statements praising both Eala and Ambassador Alfonso Ferdinand Ver. The Department of Foreign Affairs, which could have quietly reprimanded the ambassador for breaching diplomatic protocol, instead commended his authentic representation of Filipino values. Cynics muttered about political timing, but for most Filipinos, that didn't matter. What mattered was that something sincere, something unifying, had happened. Yes, Eala advanced to the round of 16. Yes, tougher opponents awaited. But competitively, that suddenly felt secondary. She had already secured something no ranking points could measure: gratitude, connection, and belief. Across the Philippines, tennis academies reported surges in inquiries. Equipment sales ticked upward. In a country long dominated by basketball culture, tennis suddenly felt reachable. If Alex could break into the world's top ranks, why couldn't the next kid from Manila, Cebu, or Davao? Yet the true impact went beyond sport. The Philippines has one of the largest diaspora populations on Earth, roughly 10 million Filipinos living and working abroad at any given time. Nearly 1 in 10 citizens builds a life overseas, sending billions in remittances home each year. They are nurses in London, caregivers in Toronto, engineers in Singapore, domestic workers in Hong Kong, seafarers crossing oceans. Their labor fuels the national economy, yet many quietly carry loneliness and invisibility. Hindi Ka Nag-Isa cut straight to that reality. It wasn't a policy speech. It wasn't a campaign slogan. It was a young athlete saying, "I know you're out there. I know what you're sacrificing. And I carry you with me." In the months that followed, Filipino communities worldwide organized watch parties for Eala's matches. Living rooms turned into mini arenas. Community halls filled with flags and shared meals. Online groups formed under the same 3-word banner, not just to support tennis, but to champion Filipino athletes in every discipline. What began as a camera lens message became a movement of affirmation. A reminder that home is not just geography, it's connection. And that even thousands of miles away, under foreign lights, someone can stand at center court and say the words millions needed to hear. In the weeks and months that followed, Hindi ka nag-isa stopped being just a message on a camera lens. It became a rallying cry. Filipino communities abroad began using it at gatherings, in support groups, and across social media as a reminder that distance doesn't erase belonging. Some overseas Filipino workers shared that Alexandra Eala's words encouraged them to open up about loneliness, to check in on kababayans in their cities, and to build stronger networks of care in places far from home. There were even proposals to commemorate the moment permanently, ideas ranging from a statue at a national tennis center to scholarship funds for young athletes inspired by those 3 words. Whether or not any monument is ever built, the very fact that such conversations began shows how deeply that February night at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open in Abu Dhabi resonated. What made it powerful wasn't marketing. It wasn't choreography. In an era where athletes are media trained to stay neutral and polished, Eala's gesture felt unfiltered and human. She didn't workshop the message. She didn't calculate its reach. She simply felt something and expressed it. That authenticity cut through everything. Ambassador Alfonso Ferdinand Ver's decision to step away from protocol carried the same spirit. He could have remained seated, diplomatic and composed. No one would have faulted him. Instead, he chose presence over posture, solidarity over distance. Rather than harming his reputation, that moment of visible emotion strengthened it. Many began describing him as a model of public service, empathetic, connected, responsive to the people he represents. Of course, tennis moves on. There will be tougher draws, bigger stages, higher rankings to chase. Eala will face setbacks and breakthroughs alike. The tour calendar will keep spinning. But for those who witnessed that night, whether inside the stadium or watching from Manila, Cebu, Davao, London, Toronto, Singapore, or aboard ships at sea, it will remain unforgettable. Because ultimately, it was never just about a 6-4, 6-3 scoreline. It was about belonging. It was about visibility. It was about a 20-year-old athlete using her moment not to elevate herself, but to lift millions of others. In a world that often feels fragmented and isolating, 3 handwritten words reminded people of something essential. Connection still matters. Community still matters. Showing up for one another still matters. That's why the crowd roared. That's why a diplomat let himself cry. That's why people are still talking about it. And maybe that's the real legacy of that night in Abu Dhabi, not rankings or records, but a simple truth carried across oceans and time zones. You are not alone.